Hi class, in this video we're going to use inverse matrices to solve systems of equations in 3 variables. And we'll use the Desmos matrix calculator for this as well. So if you haven't looked at the first video for inverse matrices using Desmos, make sure you go back and do that because I go step by step and I've actually written out the steps we'll use in Desmos. Okay, so here we're going to look at number 20 on our practice problems. And if you notice, we have 3 equations and 3 variables. And you also might remember, I'm sure you probably do, that we completed these, we solved these equations by hand using substitution and elimination. And it was very grueling, and it could take up an entire sheet of paper, and no telling how long. But whenever you use a matrix calculator, then it becomes a much more simple problem. You don't have to do any calculations by hand. You just have to make sure that you set everything up properly. So what we'll do first, remember our steps, we need to rewrite as a matrix equation. So the matrix equation is A times X equals B. Now this isn't just little a, it's not just little b, this is matrix A and matrix B and matrix X. So we can't just solve for X and be all done with it. We have to find the inverse of A, which is our next problem. But first, let's rewrite this matrix equation. So unlike our last one where it was just a 2 by 2 matrix, we need to create a 3 by 3. So we have R, S, and T, and 3 equations. So 3 variables and 3 equations, meaning we need a 3 by 3 matrix. So this is matrix A, and we use the coefficients of each of our, in our equations, the coefficients of R, S, and T, and each of the equations to input our numbers into our matrix. So we'll use 4, -3, and 5, which corresponds to our first equation, -4, -1, and uh-oh, what's going on here? Notice this has no t, but no problem. We're going to put in a 0 because you could have put plus 0t, and this would have been the same because what's true if you multiply any number by 0? It's just 0. So we'll put 0 as like a placeholder, and then we'll have 6, -6, and 4 on the bottom of the equation. Okay, so what is our matrix X? Remember that it represents our variables. What are our variables? R, S, and T. Don't write it out as R, S, T because that would make a 1 by 3 matrix, and you cannot multiply 1 by 3 matrix by 3 by 3. Whenever you multiply matrices, you have to have these numbers matching. It doesn't mean we're going to multiply these together, but you can't even set that up. Okay, lastly, you need to make your matrix B, which, what does that represent? Well, it represents your constants that are isolated on the right side of your equation. So you have 19, -18, and 2. Okay, now that you have this set up, you're ready to start using Desmos. So first, you'll need to find the inverse of A. We'll create a new matrix. And then we'll need to edit our matrix A to have 3 rows and 3 columns. And then enter in each term using tab to go over to the next place. So 4, -3, tab, and so on. Okay, so make sure you double check that everything is right. 4, -3, 5, -4, -1, 0, 6, -6, 4. Okay, we are ready to press enter, and there is our matrix A. Now, I just want to show you how to find the inverse. So you would take A and then A to the -1, and there is your crazy looking inverse over here, which if you multiplied it by this A, you would get the identity matrix, which is kind of like the equivalent of getting 1 whenever you multiply 8 times 1/8. So convert this to fraction form just so that you can see the exact numbers. You can write this down at this point to now set it up as X equals a to the negative 1 times b, but you don't have to. Okay, so press enter, and we are now ready to input our matrix B. So we found the inverse of matrix A, and now we need to enter matrix B. So when we enter matrix B, think about our dimensions. We need dimensions of 3 times 1, 3 by 1, not 3 times 1. So press new matrix, and we have 3 rows and 1 column. Put 19, negative 18, and 2. Press enter. And now we are ready to multiply the inverse of A times B. So let's go ahead and do that. Number 4, or step 4, we're ready to write it into our new form. X equals inverse of A times matrix B. And calculate this in Desmos. All right, so this only takes pressing A and then press the inverse. Multiply, don't worry about making it a fraction here, just go ahead and multiply by our matrix B and then press enter. Okay, so now we have our R and our S and T, which is 3, 6, and 5. This is the point that you need to, okay, so we have A to the negative 1, write this down, times matrix B equals our matrix, which is 3, 6, and 5, which corresponds to our R, our S, and our T, which we will write right here, 3, 6, and 5. And you can also write it as 3, 6, 5. And this is our answer. Okay, so now you should be ready to solve matrices, solve systems of equations in 3 variables using matrices. And as you see, you could solve, just about any dimension of matrix, any dimension of equations of a matrix by creating it into a matrix and solving in this manner. So I hope this helps, and now you're ready to do numbers 21 and 22. Okay, so I will see you in our next video.